Hi everyone. So I'm back with a new Thursday Thoughts, and today's topic is going to be toxic people. I know that the conventional advice when it comes to toxic people is just to avoid them, but unfortunately for some of us that are chronically ill, there is no way to do that. We are unfortunately at the mercy of people that are toxic because sometimes they are our caregivers or we have no choice but to live with them. It's our only option for housing, and that can be very difficult. I've been told in the past that my living situation could possibly be making me sick or keeping me sick, and while I understand that, there also is really no other alternative. So I figured this topic would be geared towards people like myself that have no other options, and what things that we could do in order to make it easier to be around toxic people. And like I said, the conventional wisdom is cut them out of your life or limit your exposure to them, but sometimes it can be really difficult given that you're living with these people. So I wanted to start off with things that you could do right away in order to sort of be able to cope with people who are toxic. Self-help books, and this might sound kind of woo-woo and out there, but one thing that has helped me cope a lot with certain people in my life is reading about them. So if you have a narcissist in your life, or if you have someone who is abusive in your life, and you can't really get away from them, sometimes it helps to learn about them and read books about them that will tell you why they are how they are. It will help you to understand them a little bit better, and sometimes even how to deal with them in a more effective manner. So self-help books are really, they're really great. It also gives you something to read. If you're a disabled person and you're just stuck at home, you'll have some really good reading material that will help you in your daily life. It also helps you to identify if your situation really is a bad or abusive situation, the steps that you can take in order to make that easier, or hopefully to try and stop that situation from continuing. But like I mentioned earlier, being a sick person, it makes it very difficult to get out of your living situation or certain relationships that you are dependent on. Another thing you can do, if you are still able to, if you are able to get up and go, get up and go. Get out, go to the beach, go to the park. Try to spend as much time as possible away from the place that causes you this anxiety. It is hard. I myself use oxygen. I have the oxygen cannula here. I use oxygen. I'm supposed to use oxygen 8 to 12 hours a day. And my oxygen concentrator is stationary, so it's here at home. So I can't really take it with me. But I can still go out. I'm not dependent on the oxygen to breathe. It just kind of gives me a little bit of more energy. But if you have a portable oxygen concentrator, you could take it with you. If you don't have any equipment, it might be easier for you to go out and about. If you have mobility issues, maybe a scooter. If you have a scooter, you could, get your scooter. I know a lady with Lyme disease who goes to Disneyland on her scooter, and she does this often. But if you can get out, get out, even if it's just to the park down the street. It will help to limit your time being in the four walls that can cause you some stress. Find your joy. Find the things that will make you happy and that will give you some kind of fulfillment, whether that's reading, writing, crafting, knitting. I started taking up knitting last year, and it was hard, but it kind of gave me a different focus. A lot of people do coloring. They find it therapeutic. So find things that make you happy. Journaling can be very therapeutic for those of us that don't really have someone to talk to, or if we don't have a place to go to kind of let out what we're holding in. Journaling can be a great place to do that. And speaking of that, I did speak in my last Thursday Thoughts. We talked about therapy. Therapy is another good one. I'm not going to get too in-depth with it, but therapy is a very good one if you are having issues at home, but you can't leave that place. And I find therapy very, very helpful. It's given me a lot of clarity when it comes to situations with other people. So therapy, I highly recommend. I'll always recommend it, but I don't want to get too into it here. I actually think I should do another Thursday Thoughts just fully dedicated to therapy. Get a good night's sleep. Sleep as well as you can. I know chronically ill people have sleep problems like nobody's business, but try to get a good night's sleep. At least 8 hours, but as much as you can, try to get a good night's sleep. That one I found on the internet, and I thought, wow, that's kind of a no-brainer, but you never think that could actually help you to deal with the people in your life. No negative self-talk. I also found this one online and it didn't really click, but I know that there are a lot of people that beat themselves up over their relationships with family and, their broken relationships. So I would limit the negative self-talk. You're already sick, you're already suffering, so try to just, don't look in the mirror and say, it's my fault that this is happening. Unfortunately, some of us just have families and friends, that we can't really get away from, that are just not great people, and that, it's unfortunate, but it is more common than you think, and it's not something that you should beat yourself up over. Meditation, I've talked about that. I have, I think, a Periscope broadcast where I show you I show you how to do progressive relaxation, and RSA breathing. So you might want to go check that out. I found that has helped me quite a bit in increasing my patience for the difficult people in my life. For some reason, it just kind of calms you down and makes it easier to deal with certain people. So I think those are the easiest things that you could do right off the bat. Those are the easiest things. The things that I struggle with are, having friendships and support systems, which is a huge, huge thing. Even people that aren't in toxic situations, should have, great friends, at least a couple of really good friends. And maybe other family members that are good to you and that can provide support for you. I'm working on this one, so I can't really speak too much on this one. I know this one is super important, but I can't really speak much on it because I'm still working on that one. So that one is, kind of tough for me. So the next group of things that you can do are the more challenging ones. Maintaining your boundaries can be really hard, especially when people are constantly overstepping your boundaries. So, for example, in my situation, I have people constantly talking about each other behind their backs, to me. So basically maintaining a boundary is just not listening to those conversations and making those people responsible and saying, okay, well, I don't tell that person to shut up. I just simply won't respond. I'll listen, but I won't have any commentary, or I'll try to put the responsibility on that person and say, well, there's two sides to the story. That's one thing that I constantly find myself saying is, well, it takes two. It takes two, especially because the blame is constantly being thrown back and forth. I just say, hey, it takes two. And that sometimes cuts the conversation short, and I don't have to feel guilty about taking sides. So maintain your boundaries. Don't let someone, and here's another one that kind of goes with that is, don't allow yourself to be manipulated. There are people that will start being sweet to you and nice to you. They'll try to win you over, and try to be buddy-buddy with you because they're trying to get you on their side against the other person. And this is a form of triangulation where it's like, okay, let's be buddies and we'll gang up against that other person. But then when you are not on that person's good side, they will go the opposite way and gang up with someone else against you. So don't allow yourself to fall for false kindnesses. Stay aware of who you're dealing with, whether it's, like I said, a family member, a friend, a coworker. Always be aware that person can switch at the drop of a hat. Don't blame. This one is a tough one. It's very tough, especially when you're dealing with toxic people, because you automatically want to point the finger at that person. Don't blame that person. Just accept responsibility for your own behavior. Don't stoop to their level. And this goes with reactivity. You'll find that some of these people love to play games. They love to get even with you. Don't stoop to their level. Distance yourself emotionally. Control your reactivity. If they yell, don't yell back. If they give you the cold shoulder, don't give them the cold shoulder back. You know, this is really one of those situations where you're only feeding into the game. Don't try to change. I think this is probably the last and final thing that I could probably say about this topic is don't try to change the person. And this took me a really long time to realize. You cannot change these people. You have to accept them as they are. As much as you don't want to, you have to accept them the way that they are. And as soon as I realized that I could not change them, I started looking at myself and changing myself and modifying my own behavior, getting out more, going out to other places and finding different solutions to my situation. So just realize that you can't change these people and accept the fact that you can't change these people. And I think that is half the battle. That is definitely half the battle. And again, part of that is not feeding into their drama. Don't feed their bad habits. Don't join in gossiping with them. Don't join in the complaining and the self-pity. You know, don't try to change them, but don't try to go along with them either, because that's just, you do have to just separate yourself, create some distance. Even though you're living in the same household, you can create that distance and that space between yourself and these toxic people. But those are basically there are a lot more. If you go on the internet, there are a lot more suggestions for how to deal with toxic people. But as it pertains to chronically ill people who are stuck in a living situation with toxic people, I think these are the most helpful. You can't completely separate yourself away from them, but you do have to somehow maintain distance within this bubble that you're living in. So anyways, I hope this helps. I will be back next Thursday with another topic. I will also be posting product reviews. I've discovered a few really great products recently that I want to share with you. So stay tuned. I'm still working on this channel and trying to, you know, get used to this new format. It's kind of weird for me to be talking into a camera because I used to be broadcasting live on Periscope. So now it's a little bit different, and sorry for the barking in the background. But anyways, I will be back again soon. Stay tuned. I will try to come back with some really great content. And I hope you enjoyed this one. I'll see you again soon, guys. Thanks.